Hi, it's Bridgette with a inspiring excerpt from the book Journey to the Heart, Daily Meditations on the Path to Freeing Your Soul by Melody Beatty. And we're reading the month of September. Listen to the voice of the soul. Listen to your soul. It speaks quietly yet clearly about what it wants, what it needs, what it's learning, what it yearns for. It speaks of its fears and dreams, its hopes and needs. Learn to listen to the souls of others, too. Listen not only to the way people chatter and exchange ideas, learn to listen to what they're really saying. Go beyond what you hear with your ears. Learn to hear what you're really saying and what others are really saying to you. So the intention is, souls do talk. Listen quietly. Listen to your own. Learn to hear the voice of others. A little soul talk goes a long way. All right, so I have feelings about this one. So before you listen to my feelings about it, it would be a good idea to pause this and maybe journal or write about your reaction, response, your vibes about it. The point is great. Listen to the voice of your soul. Listen to your soul. It speaks quietly. It knows what it wants, which is very, very true. The piece I have issue with is the other people's voices. For many of you, for many of us, we are empathic. We are what is considered in the psychic world as clairsentient, which means we walk through the world feeling everybody else's stuff. We've thought this was normal. Sometimes it's referred to as wearing your heart on your sleeve, because we then will process that energy and emotion and information out of our body in a way where we might react or get moody or go within. But other people around us socially will notice these things within us. How we express, managing, dealing with, walking through the world, listening to other people's souls, okay? So while I do believe 100% that it is very helpful at times to tap into soul to soul, intuitively to another person in a way to improve your connection to them and authentically connect in the relationship with them, like with a mother with a child, for example, mother's intuition, to help support that child in a different way, to gain a different perspective of how they are moving through the world and what maybe they're reacting or responding to. But by no means would I ever recommend to people to go tap into people's energy just wandering through the world. In fact, we have to learn not to do that. Not to do that. If you do that too much, you're overusing your skill of empathy as an empath and clairsentience, and you're going to get overloaded and overwhelmed. This will show up as anxiety or depression or a myriad of other mental health difficulties. Okay, so on the extreme point, if you utilize your intuition in ways where you're scanning or reading other people's soul energies or information about them as a person and utilizing it for yourself, whether it's for a good use or not a good use, you got to have permission for that. There's got to be a permission that's granted and given. You can't just dig into somebody's personal business. It'd be like walking into some stranger's house and roaming through their refrigerator and, eating the cookies on the counter and all that, right? It's not like that. It's not your business. And there's a way that you can manipulate then energy if you are using intuition in a way where you're moving through the world and you're reading other people's vibes. Now, another point about this, I'm not saying people who are empathic are manipulating. I'm not saying that at all. What I do want to bring forward, though, is the recognition of our own individual accountability and how we have real human relationships with people. compassionate awareness, recognition of boundaries, and understanding that we've all had different life experiences up to this point. Very vastly different life experiences. And some of those you have no clue about because people don't walk around wearing that kind of information like a sign that talks about what happened to them when they were 8 or what happened to them when they were 17 or what happened to them when they were 30. And, like what kinds of traumas and horrific experiences people have lived through and consistently deal with or don't deal with, but it affects them in their life experience now. Like that's the lens through which we move through the world does get covered and our perception gets skewed based upon our experiences, which is normal. This is a normal part of life, right? To gather all our experiences, integrate them. But it is super, super important not to, how do I say this? To be accountable for yourself and your business. And not to expect other people to know all the trauma and things that you carry or why you feel the way you do about something. It's just okay to feel the way you do about something. It's okay. There doesn't need to be a judgment. And with our traumatic experiences, we've learned a protection mechanism, especially as empathic people, to move through the world kind of hypervigilant and be tapping into other people's energies to scan the fields to see where there's potential issues or danger. And that's normal. That's like a hypervigilant response. That's normal for people who have experienced trauma, which everybody has, everybody, whether it's capital T or little t trauma, right? So it's really a good idea to work on your own intuitive knowing, understanding your own empathic tendencies, and to caretake your energetic field. And when you are in relationship with other people, to bring authenticity into that relationship without trying to anticipate or read them beforehand, but rather to be a normal human being and communicate and connect in an authentically human way first and foremost. That is the point of being in a human body and having a human experience. So those are my feels about this. And from my 20 plus years of experience as a psychic and an intuitive life coach and a medium, I've done so much work with energy, and I know that we can slip into that protection triggered responsiveness where we're trying to scan and figure out what people are feeling or going to say or to protect ourselves. Don't do it. It's not worth it because it just gives you additional barriers and blockages to your personal intuition and your personal authenticity. And then it questions your own. You will question yourself more when you have other people's business in your business. And nobody wants that either, by the way. I can feel it when somebody's tapping into my energy, and it's very yucky and it feels very violating. And it is not something that you can do in a sneaky way because people will, it affects